I appreciate y'all coming and sharing a few minutes as we talk about this build a vision process. The global membership approach is making a difference across the United States and around the world. And it's because of Lion leaders such as the two of you and others that will be listening that continue to be champions for the global action team that create such a situation where that we are changing lives, putting smiles on the faces of those who are less fortunate, and we're engaging Lions in new and creative ways. If anyone joins us, then we'll admit them as we go along this evening. We're going to talk about the district build a vision program. We're going to talk about some district goals, and we're going to talk about the steps after that. Each of you that are watching or that are here this evening may be asked to facilitate a build a vision meeting. And if so, the whole goal here is for everyone to be prepared and understand why that every question in the build a vision PowerPoint slide is important in what we hope to gather from there. As we begin to build a team, build a vision, build a plan, build success, last month we talked about building that team, that backbone of people that you know that you can rely on. But as you begin to build a vision, it's so important that you invite everyone in your district to participate, because what will happen is you'll have 35 to 40 people to show up. And some of those that show up to build the vision, you have never invited because number one, you may not know them. They're in a club that you haven't visited with or haven't spent a lot of time with, or they're a new Lion. And one meeting that I facilitated, they invited everyone across the district. There was a lady that showed up, and as we began to introduce ourselves, she had joined the Lions Club about 3 or 4 months before the Build a Vision meeting. She was the Leo advisor, and she had some of the best ideas as we talked through the process. And then she wanted to know what it took to become a zone chair. And so they helped her to get in line to become her club president and then her zone chair. In another Build a Vision meeting, everyone across the district was invited. And there was one club of about 16 that I really don't think that they know that Lions clubs exist outside their city limits. They've never gone to a district meeting or anything. But the president showed up that day. And once again, as we were talking, he says, I showed up today because I got this email that was personalized to me, telling me that I was important to my club and that you needed my help to build a vision for a better tomorrow for our district. And so I'm here and I've got some ideas and I'd like to share with you what we do. And, you know, it's remarkable when folks are invited and they get some personal attention, what great ideas will come out. Also, to build a vision, if you get 35, 40 visionaries together, you're going to identify some people to be leaders in your year and in years to come. Some are going to volunteer to be zone chairs. Some are going to volunteer to get in line to become the district governor because they have had input in building a vision for a better tomorrow. And we're going to talk with you just a little bit about how that everyone's going to have input in building the plan as we talk about that and continue the process. And so after you've set the room, and each room should have a table with 4 to 6 people and some notepads or scraps of paper for them to write on, because for each question, you should let the tables have a discussion of 4 to 5 minutes and then report out as a whole. The rest of the room, you need someone to facilitate, someone who's very good at listening and asking questions and keeping the conversation going. But you also need a scribe, somebody that is going to stand next to some butcher paper and write down every idea, because the Build a Vision meeting has to be a place where that it is safe to express yourself and your ideas, no matter what ideas that you have, no matter how crazy they sound. Every last one of them is recorded and everything is written down, and then the butcher paper is put on the wall, question by question, so that everyone can see how that their ideas are being recorded and how important they are. As we begin to just ask questions to get people talking and engaged, we're going to ask, what do Lions and club officers expect from their district governor team? This will help your district governor-elect and your vice district governors to know what the visionaries expect of them. And if someone will, if they'll listen and then meet those expectations and exceed those expectations, they'll go down in history as the best district governor ever. As people begin to talk, they're going to talk about communication. They're going to talk about what they'd like to hear when you come to the club to do your club visit. Some of them will tell you that they would really rather you not give a long speech, but would you just show up at one of our fundraisers or one of our service projects, roll up your sleeves and help us? We're a small club and we need your help more than we need your wisdom. And to be quite honest, as a leader, if we can add value to that club in any way, then we can begin to get their permission to lead in a new and exciting way. We're going to then ask the question, what do Lions and club officers expect from their zone chairs? And as we ask that question, what we're going to find out is that some people don't even know what a zone chair is. And it's a learning experience for us to begin to talk with them that the zone chair is like a mini district governor to 4 to 6 clubs that are located in close proximity. And as we do, we'll find that we expect the same thing from zone chairs for those clubs that they expect for district governors for the entire district. And then finally, what do we expect of Lions clubs? And we ask this question because it's so important that you as a district governor or a leader, Lion leader that's going to clubs, and you're going to some clubs this week, you can scold them and talk about the fact that they're weak, or you can just simply tell them that when we had this group of 35 visionaries together, we asked Lion leaders from across the district, what do we expect of Lions clubs? And this is what they said they expected. And you list those 4 or 5 things, and then very casually, and it's up to you as a club to compare yourself and what you're doing to the expectations of our visionaries. And if there's an area that you need to improve, let's use this plan of putting together a team, building a vision for your club, building a plan, and then building success and implementing that plan. When you finish this part, everyone feels comfortable in their talking. You've probably told someone that they cannot say, we've never done it that way before. You've probably had to tell someone that every idea is important and remind them that titles are not important. And one district governor, by the time we got this part, had went around with a little basket and had everybody take their name tags off and put in the basket and refused to allow them to use a title for the rest of the day. This is just an opportunity to set the tone, get everybody talking, get everyone engaged, and those tables beginning to work together. And then we're going to shift to the future. And 5 years from now, if a former member called to inquire about your club, what would you like to tell them about the changes that have been made for the better in your club? And people are going to begin to dream a dream that is bigger than they've ever dreamt before. And this is our opportunity to get ideas about really where should we be in 3 to 5 years. One meeting I facilitated, there was a fellow that sat in the back of the room and he says, I just really think that we should have a community-based Leo club that services homeschoolers. And the facilitator said, well, how would you see us doing that? Well, we would make it a virtual Leo club and they would be able to log in. Well, how would they serve? Well, when they come together to do their cooperative learning on Fridays, then they could also have some type of service project once a month to participate in. And he had really given a lot of ideas, a lot of thought to this idea that none of the rest of us had ever thought about. And then you get vision screening, and you get people who are talking about membership growth, and you're getting people that are talking about communities where the Lions should be, and that our club has sponsored a club in a neighboring community. And all these ideas are coming down, and we're writing them all down because they're important, and we're getting people talking. And if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. I really thought Brian Sheehan said that, but the slide says Henry Ford said that. But that is so true. And this Build a Vision gives us an opportunity to identify the way we've been doing things and the way that we need to change and start doing new things as we move forward. When we finish that first, what I'm going to call is getting them warmed up and talking, we're going to move into the SWOT analysis. We're going to talk about leveraging our strengths, managing our weaknesses, taking advantage of our opportunities, minimizing the impact of threats. And once again, we've got them all in the tables. We've got the butcher paper. By this time, we've got about 4 or 5 sheets of butcher paper taped to the wall. And we're going to recognize the truth about ourselves, because that is the starting point of all change. And if we will encourage people to be honest, be brutally honest about our district, then we are going to be able to put together a plan and tackle things. We also need to let them know that we're not going to be able to solve all of our weaknesses the first year. We're not going to be able to capitalize on all the opportunities the first year. And as we talk, we're going to ask you to identify the top 2 or 3 things that you'd really like us to focus on in the next 12 to 18 months. So at each table for about 5 minutes, you're going to let them begin to talk about the strengths, what exists or is currently existing that we do well, and list those things. And then from there, you're going to have every table reporting back out, and you're going to end up with a list of probably 20, 25 strengths. Some of them at different tables will overlap. And when you do that, as a facilitator, you're going to say, which do you think is our top 3 strengths that we really could build on, that they would be our foundation of growth? And the group's going to tell you, and they're going to debate, and you're going to let them debate. And eventually they're going to reach a consensus that these are the top 3, 4, 5, and you're going to put little stars by them. You're going to put that up, and then you're going to move to weaknesses, and you're going to go through the same process. You're going to have them discuss at their table. You're going to have every table report out. You'll report it all, and then you're going to ask the question, if we could only improve in 2 of these areas in the next 12 months, what do you think is the most important areas that we need to improve in? Let them debate. Let them just to talk. Let them reach a consensus of the top 2 or 3, because those are going to be the backbone of our plan. We're going to maximize our strengths, but we're also going to minimize our weaknesses. If they say communication is a weakness, then we begin to chat with them. How would you like for us to communicate? How often should we communicate? With whom should we communicate? Should the communication only go to the club officers, or should it go to all the Lions in the district? Let them, the visionaries, tell you what that they expect. And we're going to have a much more cohesive group, because they're going to see that their ideas were listened to and that they were implemented as we begin to implement the plan. We're going to do the same for opportunities. We're going to do the same for threats. If we only could pick 2 opportunities to seize in the next 12 to 18 months, what would those 2 be? Of these threats, which do you think are the 2 most critical ones for us to anticipate and address head on? Let the group tell us, because all we're doing right now is we're beginning to build a database to help us to build a better plan and build a better district and find greater success. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. And this is what this exercise in your district, which is going to take 3 to 4 hours, is going to do. It's going to let you know how that you need to adjust your sails to reach your destination or your goals. As we begin, then, it's about time, if we haven't already, to make sure we take a break. Give everybody about 10 or 15 minutes to stretch, because some of the ideas they've heard at a different table, they're going to begin to talk about. And that wayside learning is so important for all of us. It is what's going to help us in our district to begin to communicate and let them begin to collaborate together during this recess. And afterwards, when we come back together, we're going to begin to talk about district goals. And the global membership approach is going to focus on new clubs, new members into existing clubs, membership satisfaction with new service and new fellowship, and leadership support. And as we focus on each of those areas, we've got questions to ask, we've got answers that we're going to get from the visionaries. We are going to begin to set district goals that is not set by the district governor and sold to everybody, but district goals that are set by a group of 35 to 40 visionaries who, as you travel, you can say, this is our district goals, and the visionaries help to set these goals. And if you didn't participate last year, fear not. Come January or February of this coming year, we're going to have another meeting, and we want you to be there, and we want you to share your ideas, because we believe that this club has visionaries who can help us. So we're going to have SMART goals, specific and measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And also we're going to talk about accountability. Too often we say, well, Lions is a volunteer organization. We can't make anyone do anything. And that's true. if that lion has accepted their pen, sat in the back of the room and not accepted a leadership position. But once you put yourself on that stage to be the club president or the zone chair or the district governor or a member of the cabinet, you have put yourself out at a different level of opportunity. And with that opportunity comes a different level of responsibility. And there is some accountability. And if you don't believe there's accountability, you as an international director, a past international director, just simply sit down and do nothing and someone's going to call your hand. As a constitutional area leader for the Global Action Team, I can tell you, if I failed to hold a monthly meeting I told people that we were going to have, someone calls my hand and asks me, what am I doing? And they should, because I might have just forgotten. You as an ID, if you mark off 30 weekends for personal events, and you're not ever available to travel and speak and be an ambassador for our association, you just want to go to the international convention and the board meetings, and that's all you want to do, someone is going to call your hand. Am I right?
Yep.
Yes. And so accountability is something we've got to discuss, because as people assume leadership roles, we've got to hold them accountable. And then this is the most important part, because this is where we're getting to set those district goals, and we're really beginning to get everyone engaged. And we're going to have everyone at the table for about 8 to 10 minutes, talk about why are new clubs valuable? Because a lot of the visionaries there have never thought about why we should have new clubs. They've only thought about what their club is doing. And we're getting them talking and thinking. And where can we start a new club? And if we'll listen, the people in that room will give us the next 3 to 4 spots to start clubs in our district. And talk about specialty clubs and let them define some specialty clubs and let them think outside the box, because those specialty clubs is going to be the lifeblood of our association. If I'm not mistaken, about 60% of the clubs that have been formed so far this year in the United States are specialty clubs and special interest clubs. They're not ethnic clubs. They're friends of the library. They're clubs focusing on diabetes. There's clubs focusing on community needs and disability playgrounds and things of that nature. And then finally, what training resources are needed. If you're going to help us to start clubs, what training or resources would you need? And let the group tell us, because as they're answering that question, Focus Area 4 is making notes, because we are going to allocate the resources and we're going to equip everyone that is willing with all the knowledge necessary in order for us to be successful. And then we're going to take out our 5-year average, and we're going to say in the last 5 years, we've averaged starting a half a club per year, or we've averaged starting 1 club per year. What do you think that we can do? Well, someone in the crowd is going to say, well, we listed 8 spots. We can start 8 clubs. And that is not that R in SMART goals is not being met. So it's not realistic. But as a facilitator, you don't want to pour cold water on that idea. So as a facilitator, you say, Joe over here thinks we can start 8. Now we've started just 1 club a year on the average for the last 5 years. That's a big jump. Do we have the manpower to go from 1 to 8? And let the visionaries begin to debate it. And someone's going to say, I think we could do 1. And somebody says, well, we could stretch a little and do 2. And someone else, well, we could probably do 4. And as they talk back and forth, they're going to settle at probably 2 or 3. And whatever the visionaries say is correct, because we're going to hold them accountable to their goals. It's not a goal that I, as a district governor, am setting anymore. The visionaries have said that we can do 3. And so we're going to develop a plan to do 3. We're going to then talk about Focus Area 2, which is revitalizing clubs with new members. Why invite people to join your club? What are the best way for a club to invite new members? Does your club host membership growth events? And what training is needed? And once again, these are some thought-provoking questions, because a lot of people have not thought about why it's necessary to bring new members into the club. They haven't thought about how to do it. There may be 1 or 2 people in the club that have always brought the members in. If you look at my club, there's probably 2 or 3 Lions who have sponsored 80% of the members that's in our club. And so we need to begin to get folks talking about that, talking about the membership growth event, planting some seeds. with the visionaries because they're going back to their clubs. So as you can see, this Build a Vision is not only to help our district to have a vision for a better tomorrow, it's to equip the visionaries that are there with enough knowledge to go back to their club and for them to hold a Build a Vision meeting within their club. And then what training or assistance is needed. And we're going to listen, and Area 4 is going to put that on their things to do list. We're going to pull out our 5-year average again and say we've generally added 250 members to existing clubs on the average for the last 5 years. What can we do? And we're going to talk about that. As a facilitator, our goal is to get them to increase their, whatever the average is, by about 5 to 10%. And then as we move to focus area 3 with drops, if we could decrease the drops by 5 to 10%, then we're going to be in a growth position in most districts. Area 3 is remotivating members with fellowship and existing service. How do you know a line is engaged? Is orientation important? How do service projects help retain members? How can we re-engage a member who stopped participating? All these are thought-provoking questions. They're coming up with ideas. Every time that we ask a question, we're writing the answers down. We've got probably 20 pages of butcher paper along the wall with ideas. And people are telling us very important things to help us to have a better district. We're going to go to our 5-year average and say we've generally dropped 275 members, and we've averaged a net loss of 25 members per year for the last 5 years. And we've got our 250 on goal number 2, and we increased it by about 10%. We're at about 275. What do you think we can do with drops? Can we cut them by 5%? Can we cut them by 10%? And they begin to talk and they come up with a number, and whatever number they come up with is great, because we're going to do better than that, because for the first time ever, Lions are engaged in the process of setting goals. They're going back to their zones, they're going back to their clubs, they're getting excited, and they're beginning to talk about the global membership approach even before the district governor team is available to visit. And then area 4, you've already got all your training needs from those first 3 slides. So it's time to ask about what programs or seminars should be offered. What's the best format? Do you want to do that in person? Do you want to do that in Zoom? Do you want to have a weekend retreat? Do you want us to have a 1-hour session once a month? Let the group tell you how they want it delivered. Talk about a Lions Leadership Institute or a Lions Learning Institute, whether that's RLLI, if it's one that you go to, or one that you just make up, because our district, as we were a pilot, we did a district enhanced learning institute, and we called it the Deli because Lions were hungry for knowledge. And so just listen and see, and then ask them what other types of programs or support can be provided to leaders. Once we get to this, we're finished with all the questions. In order to carry a positive action, we must develop here a positive vision. At this point in time, as a facilitator, I would encourage you to give everyone in the room a 3x5 card and ask them to write their name, their address, their phone number, their email address down, but then to tell you where their passion is and their purpose for being a Lion. Would you like in the next 12 months to work on Area 1 new clubs? If so, at the bottom of your 3x5 card, put new clubs. Would you like to work on teaching and encouraging clubs to bring in new members into their existing clubs? If so, you put new members into existing clubs. Are you interested in helping with retention with new fellowship and new service ideas? If so, put Area 3, new fellowship, new service. Or is your passion teaching, equipping, exciting, empowering leaders to lead in new and creative ways? And if so, put Area 4, leadership support. They turn those all in, and you sort them out, and you're probably going to have 4 or 5 in the first category. You're going to have probably 5 or 6 that like new members in existing clubs. You're going to have 10 or 12 that wants to do service. And then you're going to have maybe 4 or 5 that wants to have leadership support. That is now your team to build your plan. as we go into next month's discussion of building a plan. But also then, as they have divided themselves up, ask them to select among themselves a chairman that is going to help to build the plan and lead the process. What this is going to do is it's going to identify for you as a district governor-elect who the team has given permission to lead in these areas. Number one is sort of a new club specialist, maybe a global extension team, if you wanted to keep them as part of the GAT. The second one is your GMT, bring in members into existing clubs, and who the team selects. If they do a great job in building the plan, they'll be excited about carrying out that plan, and they have self-identified your GMT. That third group with new service and new fellowship is really your GST. And if they've identified someone, they've done a good job of putting the plan together, they're excited, they could be your GST. And then your GLT is the same with leadership support. So the Build a Vision is not only helping you have a better district going forward, it's helping you identify the leaders in key areas of your global action team and your extension team. And it is going to provide us a plan or a roadmap to greater success. But it all starts with this Build a Vision. And I think that this is the most important part. And this Build a Vision starts with inviting visionaries, everyone in the district, to participate. And then we're going to begin to collaborate. Everyone in your district must be involved in the global membership approach. And even though only 35 to 40 people showed up to be the visionaries, encourage those 4 subgroups that you've identified to reach out to other people who have similar passions but wasn't able to make it to the meeting, and share with them the information we've gathered and let them help you to build the plan. Because the more people we have engaged, the more people we have available to help us to find greater success. We've already talked about aligning our passions and our purpose in these 4 areas. Is so vitally important for us to make sure that every visionary and every visionary's recommendation of someone who's passionate as they are in a particular area have an opportunity to serve. And so what's our next steps? All those 25 or 30 pieces of butcher paper, someone is going to type the question and all the answers so that we can share with every line in our district. We're going to take and send that out to our council chair and our global action team on our multiple district level, so they know the answers to all the questions and some of the needs of our district. So as they begin to put their plan together, they can be prepared to assist us. We're going to encourage district governor-elects and anyone else that's a Lion that has access to the Lions Learning Center to go and take action planning to achieve district goals and succession planning. Take those 2 courses and learn from them. Write the action plans for each goal established. You've got the 4 subgroups who are beginning to write their action plans. And then all 4 action plans are going to come together to become the district's action plan. In your global membership approach champion, your district governor team, they're going to help to make sure that everything's coordinated. No club or zone is overwhelmed by too many people asking them to do something at the same time. There's a coordinated effort and steps that moves us forward, and it addresses our strengths, it minimizes our weaknesses, it takes advantage of some opportunities, and it helps us to avoid the impact of some threats. And then once the plan comes together, then our goals are going to be entered into our system with Lions Clubs International, and we're going to then begin to build success. The next time that we get together as International Family, we are going to take and talk about how to build that plan for greater success. I appreciate everyone joining us this evening. If you have questions, you can reach out to me, text, email, give me a call. And I appreciate everyone being here this evening.